Hello, 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 my lovely watchers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are going to kick off a wealth diaries series where I'm currently on a wealth journey. And so in this video, I want to talk about all the money mistakes. And then in the next couple of videos, you are going to see how my mindset has shifted, the lessons I've learned, my current wealth building strategy, and how I have the goal of retiring by the age of 35. I'm currently 28. So let's dive in. So the first money mistake that I made was just thinking that I could make money and that would solve all my problems. If you do not know anything about my story, is I started off my coaching business as a social worker. In my 9-to-5 job as a social worker, I was making $2,500 a month and I had 6 figures of student loan debt. So I literally dreamed of making more money, and I thought that would just fix everything. I thought that would solve everything, but the issue was I then made $1 million and I did some great things. I paid off a ton of debt. I bought a house. I didn't really have anything to show for the fact that I made literally $1 million. And around the June, July part of 2023, that really stuck with me. I was starting to get really sad about that. I was starting to get anxious and depressed over it. And I went to the existential part of like, well, then what is all this for? Why am I working myself so hard? My team so hard if we don't have any wealth to show for it? So I went into this place where I was like, I need to make some sort of change. And that was from the main money mistake that I made of thinking all I could do was earn more. So then the next money mistake that I made was being anti-budget. And it's funny because when I was quitting my job and I was making that really big wealth shift, I put myself on a budget in order to figure out my finances, so I knew how much I needed to save to quit my job, and I knew what I needed to actually be able to live on my own without a 9-to-5 paycheck. But the problem was I did not do that for my business. I was such in this fake abundance era, as my money coach calls it, where I just thought I had all the money to blow and all the money to spend. And I didn't go crazy. I didn't buy a new Tesla, or I didn't buy a second house, or I didn't buy all these bags and purses, but I definitely spent a ton of money. I increased my salary to about $250,000 a year, and I wasn't managing that properly. And so I had all of these mistakes with my personal finances, with my business finances, and I knew that I had to be put on some sort of budget, but the restrictive ones was freaking out my nervous system. So I put myself on a soft budget where I analyzed all my personal expenses and I analyzed all of my business expenses, and that cleaned a lot up. I also put myself on an own personal limit of how much genuinely do I want to spend on bags? How much genuinely do I want to spend on luxury travel? And getting very clear with that number, so then I knew the other monies that I would be bringing in and the other income that I would be bringing in would actually go to my wealth goals. The third money mistake that I made was just buying things without intention. And without intention is like buying things without a plan. So I would go on a trip that typically wasn't planned, and then I would go shopping on purchases that typically weren't planned. And I had the money and I had the cash, and I wasn't like going into a credit card to pay for everything. But the thing is, I was taking money from other things and other opportunities down the line. And so now I have what is called a cooling off period, where if I have the idea of buying something or going somewhere, I will like take 30 days to think about it thoroughly. And if I still have that desire after the 30 days, then that's when I'll move forward with it. And I found out that a lot of different seasons of my cycle, like my menstrual cycle, I'll want to spend more when I'm ovulating versus other times when I'm not. And then also, if I was just simply bored and I had money, I would go shopping. And so I don't think I had like an addiction or anything. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think I had a problem. Again, my house wasn't filled with clothes and shopping and all those things, but I just wasn't spending with a plan and with intention. And so now with that 30-day cooling off period, I feel a lot more comfortable making spending decisions. And it also doesn't feel restrictive. It feels like, do I actually want to be doing this? Do I actually want to be spending my money this way? And then my last big money mistake that I made was hiring for growth instead of hiring for the business that I have right now. And so when I had a whole bunch of money come in the business or I had a really big launch, I started making all of these hires. Like, okay, well, I need to hire a social media person, and then I want to hire this mastermind over here. They can help me get connected with so-and-so. And then maybe I can hire this and go here and do this and go to this conference and network over here. And I was trying to grow my business through hiring. When you can't grow your business through hiring, you have to grow your business through strategy. And the strategy at the end of the day was always gonna come from me. And so I learned that the hard way when I spent close to $100,000 on hiring and investments and expenses that I did not need and that did not grow my business because I had no strategy to actually give the hire, right? So like when you hire someone or whenever you're in a business investment, the first thing that business investment or that hire is gonna say is, what do you want? What's your problem? Where do you want to go? What are your goals? And I hadn't figured that out yet. So I was looking at the hiring and the investments to tell me that, and I didn't have the strategy. So I overhired and I overinvest, all out of the name of growing my business. And this one was a little bit of a tricky one for me because I have invested heavily and I've seen great returns where I paid $25K, $50,000 for a mastermind, and then I have $1 million business, a $1.5 million business to show for it. But it was something different about this mindset. When I was doing those investments and those hires that worked, I actually had an ROI to prove for it. I came with a strategy, I came with a very specific plan. Versus the hires and the investments that I had, I did not have that strategy and I did not have that plan. So now I've scaled back my team, I've also scaled back my investments, and I have a very clear, specific goal on what I wanna do moving forward. I know I wanna fuel up my content. I know I wanna clean up my evergreen sales. I know I wanna build more funnels. I know I wanna launch better. I have very specific goals, and I've structured my hires and my investments around those so that I don't waste any more money. So these were all of the big money mistakes that I have made, and I had a ton of clarity in 2023 about all the things that were stopping me from having wealth. And so in my next couple of videos, you'll see my journey as I start to put on my wealth mindset and I choose my wealth goals. I will see you in the next video.